The courtroom hummed like a tempest ready to unleash. All the seats were occupied, reporters, gawkers, and fans holding their phones, eager to record history. The whispers echoed off the wood-paneled walls as the papers rustled beneath the clerk's hands and the cameramen repositioned themselves. Christine Brown sat in the first row, her chin raised high, her fists tightly laced together. The woman who had once given her life, her beliefs, and her heart to Kody was now standing face to face with him in the courtroom, no longer as a wife, but as an opponent. She felt Robyn's glare searing into her in the second row, full of accusation and terror. Mary sat silently at the far end of the bench, head down as if she wanted to fade away. And Janelle? She simply seemed exhausted. Years of devotion had leached the life from her, but not from her mind. As Kody entered, the space changed. His neatly pulled back hair shone under the fluorescent lights. He moved with that same confident step, the one that used to entrance millions of viewers on television. Today, however, it failed him. His face was a mask. No love, no tenderness, only a suppressed smirk covering well-hidden frustration. The bailiff boomed out, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Parker." Everyone stood as the judge sat down, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s with glasses low on her nose, famous for her get-tough reputation. The gavel swept once. "Court is now in session for Brown versus Brown et al., she said. "This is a civil matter involving financial misconduct, emotional distress, and conflicts over parental custody between the parties." The courtroom fell quiet. Cameras snapped. Christine's attorney, a composed but quick-witted woman named Rachel Cooper, stood up. "Your Honor, this is not a matter of a failed marriage. This is a matter of deception, of years of emotional manipulation, control of finances, and hiding money intended for the family." Kody's attorney protested at once. "Your Honor, this is nothing more than an emotional publicity stunt. My client has been the supporter and head of his family for decades. These charges are—" Judge Parker held up her hand. "Save it for evidence, Mr. Hayes." "Go on, Ms. Cooper." Rachel moved forward, activating a remote that cast an image on the courtroom screen. It was a bank statement, Kody's name, and a series of transactions connected to a mysterious account in Nevada. Gasps swelled through the crowd. Christine's voice shook as she breathed. "That's the money from the family fund." Kody shifted uncomfortably in his seat, jaw clenching. He leaned in over his lawyer, growling something under his breath. Robyn's eyes flew to the screen, lips open in shock or guilt. Rachel's voice rang out above the tension. "Your Honor, our proof will be that Mr. Brown funneled more than $200,000 from a joint family account into a private account without either of his wives' knowledge or permission. This money was subsequently used to make real estate purchases in his and Robyn's names only." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Parker rapped the gavel once more. "Order! I will have order in this courtroom." Kody finally broke his silence, his tone firm but trembling. "You have no idea what it takes to take care of a family like ours." "You think I did this for greed? I did this to keep us safe." Christine stood, a sheen of tears in her eyes. "Keep us safe? You ruined us. You promised all of us things, and when times were tough, you stashed the money and ran off to your favorite wife." The judge's gavel hit again. "Mrs. Brown, please sit down. You'll have your turn to testify, but the damage was done." The tension was no longer something that could be contained. It filled the air like smoke. As Christine sat, she caught Janelle's eye. Janelle offered a subtle nod, an unspoken understanding. For years they had lived in the fantasy of togetherness, but now the fantasy was breaking apart. Outside, fans waited with signs. Team Christine and Justice for the Wives. The show that once entertained the world had become a public shaming. Within, the court adjourned briefly. Christine entered the hallway, her breath shaking, holding a tiny pendant that had represented their covenant marriage. Janelle moved up beside her. "You handled yourself well in there," she whispered, "but Kody's not going down without a fight." Christine sighed. "He already initiated the war when he chose lies over us." From down the corridor, Robyn's voice came out, heavy with frustration. "Christine, you're ruining all we've built. Why can't you just deal with this in private?" Christine whirled around, her eyes flashing steel. "Because, Robyn, you made it public the day you let him cover up the truth." Robyn stood stock still. For a second, the corridor was silent, apart from the click of cameras behind the courthouse doors. As they came back into the courtroom, the tension was palpable. The next witness was about to take the stand, and it wasn't someone anyone could have predicted. The clerk announced, "The court calls Mary Brown to the stand." Christine's heart fell. Janelle's brows were furrowed. Kody leaned forward, a glimmer of triumph in his eyes. Mary moved slowly towards the stand, holding her bag close. She was in two minds, conflicted between guilt and relief. Her voice trembled as she administered the oath. "I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth." The room fell silent when she took a seat, so quiet that you could hear her breathing. Rachel spoke to her softly. "Mary, can you share with the court what you know about Kody's dealings with money over the past year?" Mary hesitated, glancing at Kody, then at Christine. Her lip began to shake. I knew about the Nevada account," she whispered. The courtroom gasped once more. Christine's mouth fell open. "You knew?" Mary's eyes welled up with tears. "He said it was for family emergencies. I didn't know he was using it to purchase property with Robyn." Kody banged his fist down on the table. "That's enough. You're twisting everything." Judge Parker's gavel came crashing down. "Mr. Brown, one more outburst and I'll find you in contempt." The courtroom came to a standstill, each gaze fixed on Kody. The man who used to hold every story in his hands now sat cornered, open, and furious. Judge Parker leaned forward. "We'll reconvene tomorrow. I expect both sides to be prepared with their complete evidence." As the courtroom emptied, Christine lingered by the exit. The reporter shouted questions, flashes blinding her vision. She whispered to herself, "Tomorrow I'll show them everything." Because hidden in her folder was a recording that could change the entire case. R was thick, the type of heavy that precedes a storm. Outside, news vehicles parked along the street. Inside, rumors circulated through the crowd like wind through parched leaves. Christine hugged her folder closer than ever before. Within it was the recording, her ace in the hole. But she hadn't shared it with anyone, not even Janelle. She was waiting for the right moment to produce it. Today would be that day. The bailiff invited everyone to stand. Judge Parker came in, her face inscrutable. "We will continue the case of Brown versus Brown et al. Counsel. Please continue." Kody sat stiff at the defense table, clasped hands, knuckles white. He resembled a man attempting to keep a falling wall intact with his bare fists. Robyn occupied the seat beside him, mumbling something under her breath, her red and puffy eyes from the previous night. Mary sat close to the witness stand again, not testifying, but she couldn't appear to cease wringing her hands. Rachel Cooper, Christine's lawyer, stood with calm confidence. "Your Honor," she began, "today we'll present new evidence that directly contradicts Mr. Brown's financial statements and exposes an ongoing pattern of manipulation and deceit." The judge nodded. "Proceed." Rachel turned toward Christine. "Please take the stand." Christine stood, her heart racing. She pulled down her jacket, approached the stand, and took her oath. She caught Kody's eye and for an instant saw the man she had once loved, the man she had thought would love her forever. Forever had come to this courtroom, however. Rachel started gently. "Christine, when did you first get the feeling something was amiss?" Christine took a breath, her words steady but soft. "It was shortly after we'd moved to Flagstaff. Kody began spending more time out, always with Robyn. Bills were late. The joint account kept dipping, but he said he had it under control. I trusted him." Rachel nodded. "What shifted?" Christine's eyes filled. "One evening, I received a call from the bank. A check had bounced. When I looked, the family account was drained. That's when I learned of the Nevada fund." Rachel stepped closer. "And how did you verify that cash went towards property in his and Robyn's names?" Christine pulled out a piece of paper from her folder. The courtroom leaned forward. "I have evidence," she whispered. The clerk took the folder and handed it to the judge. In it was a chain of emails, real estate agreements, bank transfers, and one voice memo. Judge Parker's eyebrows rose. "A voice recording?" Christine nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. It's a dialogue between Kody and Robyn." Kody tensed up. His lawyer jumped up at once. "Objection, Your Honor." This was procured without permission. Rachel replied serenely, "Your Honor, the tape was recorded at the Brown household on a shared computer." Legally, Christine had access to it all? Judge Parker pondered. "Objection overruled. Let's hear it." The courtroom fell silent as the clerk hit play. Kody's voice filled the speakers, slow and measured. Robyn, don't mention anything to the others about the transfer. They'll never get it. This is for us, our future. And then Robyn's shaking voice, but what if Christine or Janelle discovers it? Kody's response was icy. Let them. They've already opted for distance. We're the true family now. Gasps filled the room. Robyn hid her face in her hands. Kody's jaw clenched tight. Christine's eyes were glassy. She did not gloat, did not smile. She just sat there, quiet and strong. That's all I ever needed to prove, she whispered. Rachel turned to the judge. Your Honor, this tape clearly shows intent to hide financial information and keep the other wives separated. Judge Parker nodded slowly. It certainly does pose serious doubts about Mr. Brown's actions. Kody finally broke in, his voice cracking. You're twisting everything. I was attempting to preserve what's left of this family. Christine's made this into a circus. Christine stood once more, her tone biting now. Protect? You mean control. You took it all, the money, the trust, the love, and then blamed us for leaving. The judge waved for quiet. Mrs. Brown, please allow counsel to manage the argument. Christine sat back, shaking, but within her, something changed. The years of silence and submission were over. Outside, fans watching through the courthouse windows gasped and cried. The hashtags #Justice for Christine and #Sister Wives Trial were already trending online. Rachel turned to the judge once more. Your Honor, we'd like to call our next witness, Janelle Brown. Janelle walked slowly to the stand. She looked calm, but the sadness in her eyes told another story. Rachel started, Janelle, you've known Kody for decades. Can you tell the court about your relationship with him in recent years? Janelle sighed. It's been distant. We used to make every big decision together, but after he began prioritizing Robyn, everything changed. He'd visit my house less, ignore my calls, and whenever I asked to know the family money, he'd get defensive. Rachel nodded. Did you ever notice any signs of the secret account Christine found? Janelle paused. Yes, I think it was a year ago. I noticed a statement in his truck. I recognized the name of the bank in Nevada. When I asked him about it, he told me it was just a business account. I didn't pry. I didn't want to begin another fight. Her voice cracked. I should have spoken up. Maybe then we wouldn't be in this situation. Christine's eyes grew soft. For an instant, she wasn't furious with Janelle, only sad that it had fallen apart this way. Kody massaged his temples. His life, constructed on control and confidence, was disintegrating before everyone. Robyn took his hand, but he wrenched it away. The fissures were beginning to open between them as well. Rachel went on. Thank you, Janelle. No further questions. The defense attorney got up and walked towards her, his voice cutting. Mrs. Brown, isn't it a fact that you profited financially under Mr. Brown's leadership for many years? That you actively engaged in a plural lifestyle and had access to money? Janelle scowled. Yes, but not the ones he concealed. Yet you didn't confront him. The attorney continued to pin her down. Doesn't that make you accessory? Janelle's voice grew firm. No, it makes me someone who trusted the man who preached honesty and unity and lied to us all. The attorney stepped back. No further questions. Judge Parker sighed. We'll take a brief recess. As everyone stood, Christine noticed Kody glaring at her. His eyes were dark, furious, but also afraid. He leaned over to his attorney, speaking in a whisper. The attorney nodded, made a note, and exited in a hurry. Rachel witnessed the exchange. He's covering something else, she whispered to Christine. Christine also nodded. I know, and I think Mary does too. In the corner of the room, Mary sat alone, looking down at her phone. Her hands hovered over a message she hadn't sent yet. On her screen was one sentence. If I tell them what I know, everything ends. The lights on the cameras began to flicker once more. The judge called the room back to order. Before anyone could say anything, Kody rose. Your Honor, I'd like to call one witness of my own. The courtroom was abuzz. Even his attorney seemed to be taken aback. Judge Parker scowled. You may, but be careful. Kody spun around, his voice growing loud. I call Robyn Brown to the stand. Robyn stiffened. Her face went white. She glanced from Kody to Christine and back again. As she made her way to the stand, you could sense the room switch. Everyone sensed something huge was about to happen. She was sworn in and sat, her hand shaking. Kody's attorney stepped forward. Mrs. Brown, Tell the court what your husband planned to do with the Nevada account. Robyn gulped. He said it was for the family. He needed an insurance policy in case things deteriorated. And did you ever catch him spending that money on something personal? Robyn hesitated. No, not exactly, but... The courtroom leaned forward. But I discovered something, she whispered. Something in his desk. Kody's eyes grew wide. Robyn, stop. Judge Parker arched a brow. Mrs. Brown, you are sworn in. What did you discover? Robyn's voice trembled. A second record in Utah, using another name, the courtroom fell into pandemonium. Christine's breath caught. Janelle's jaw dropped. Kody pounded his hands on the table. That's it! Judge Parker's gavel boomed. Order! Order in this court. Christine's attorney turned slowly, cold smile spreading to her face. Your Honor, we want access to those records immediately. Kody's color drained. Judge Parker nodded decisively. Motion granted. Court in recess until tomorrow. We will consider the new evidence. As people stood, Christine met Robyn's gaze. Robyn, for the first time, was broken, caught between love and truth. Christine whispered, You did the right thing. Robyn simply shook her head. You have no idea what he's capable of. As the gavel fell for the last time that day, the gravity of those words lingered. The following morning broke gray and chilly over Flagstaff, as if even the sky was aware of what was to unfold. Reporters swarmed the courthouse steps, microphones aimed at the stout wooden doors. Day 3 of The People versus Kody Brown, one of the anchors read aloud. Yesterday's bombshell news from Robyn Brown has turned everything around. Today, we might see the whole truth unravel. In the small waiting room, Christine faced the mirror. Her tired but fierce-looking reflection looked back at her. Softly, she spoke to herself. Today's the day, Christine. No more fear. She felt in her bag and pressed a USB drive, the second recording, the one she hadn't disclosed yet. It was not merely a matter of money this time. It was a matter of manipulation, and a plan she was never intended to hear. As the bailiff brought the court to order, the anxiety was palpable. You could hear the soft whir of cameras, the rustling of papers, the shallow intake of breath as they waited for the next shoe to fall. Judge Parker walked in, unruffled as ever. We are continuing proceedings for Brown versus Brown et al., Mr. Hayes, she said to Kody's attorney. You may proceed. Kody stood immediately. His face was tight, controlled, spebgrum, but the anger simmered beneath the surface. Your Honor, I'd like to make a statement before my counsel proceeds. The judge hesitated, then nodded. Go ahead. Kody turned toward the audience, his voice strong but shaking. This has gone too far. My family's being torn apart by lies and jealousy. I've spent decades trying to keep everyone safe, fed, and together. And this is how I'm repaid? Christine is twisting everything to destroy me. Christine's eyes narrowed. She didn't look away. Kody went on, louder now, his voice cracking. Yes, I made mistakes. But I'm not the villain here. I constructed this family out of nothing, and I'm not about to let anyone recast history. The judge cut in harshly. Mr. Brown, this is not a TV reunion show. Sit down. There was laughter through the gallery, but it died away fast as Christine stood up. Her voice was controlled but icy. Your Honor, I'd like leave to respond. The judge nodded. Briefly. Christine stood up to Kody. You didn't build this family on your own. You built a show. And when the cameras went off, we saw the truth. A man who preached love but practiced control. A murmur swept through the courtroom. Kody's fist tightened, eyes blazing with contained anger. Rachel, Christine's attorney, made her way to the bench. Your Honor, since new evidence was revealed yesterday, we respectfully ask to bring in digital correspondence pertaining to the Utah account. Judge Parker nodded. Proceed. The lights dimmed a notch as the projector came to life. A chain of emails materialized between Kody and a Utah financial advisor 2 years ago. Rachel narrated, These emails show Mr. Brown diverting funds meant for the family's joint investment into a private trust. The listed beneficiary is not Robyn Brown, but a woman named Elise Montgomery. Whispers exploded through the courtroom. Christine frowned. Who is that? Rachel didn't answer. Not yet. We'll get there, she said. Kody's lawyer objected instantly. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. Judge Parker silenced him with a glance. Overruled. Continue. Rachel moved in closer to the screen. Elise Montgomery is the name on a private property deed, a property bought in Las Vegas during the months after Christine left the marriage. Furthermore, Phone records indicate frequent contact between Mr. Brown and Ms. Montgomery over the last year. Christine's mouth fell open. Robyn went white. Kody's attorney breathed urgently. "We can't..." But Kody stood up once more, his voice rising. "That's enough. Elise was a business associate. She assisted me with real estate transactions." Rachel's voice snapped. "Then why, Mr. Brown, did you send her $50,000 labeled personal support?" Gasps. Cameras clicked. Kody's face went red. "You don't get it." Christine's voice interrupted. "No, Kody. We finally get it." The judge rapped his gavel. "Order. We will have decorum." Christine sank back into her seat, tears brimming but unshed. She wasn't crying for the money or even for betrayal anymore. She was crying because everything she had once believed in was gone. Rachel turned back to the judge. "Your Honor, we'd like to play one more recording." This was found in the same family device storage as the previous one. Kody's lawyer muttered under his breath, "Not another one." The clerk touched play. The room was once again filled with Kody's voice, now anger-filled, raw. "If Christine continues to push, I'll destroy her. She forgets who owns the narrative. No one will believe her without me." Then Robyn's voice came next, frail and tentative. "You can't make threats to her like that, Kody." His voice turned ominous. "I can do whatever I need to. She'll take a step back when she understands that I'm not playing games." The recording ceased. The courtroom lapsed into shocked silence. Not even the reporters said a word. Judge Parker's voice was icy calm. "Mr. Brown, do you deny this recording is genuine?" Kody did not reply. His attorney attempted to jump in, but the judge cut him off, saying, "I addressed your client." Kody finally spoke up, saying, "I said things I did not mean. I was furious." "Furious enough to terrorize your wife?" the judge demanded. Kody did not respond. Christine hid her face in her hands. Janelle crept over, whispering, "It's finished." He can't deny it now. But Rachel wasn't done. "Your Honor, in light of this new information, we respectfully request an immediate financial audit and a restraining order against Mr. Brown to safeguard Mrs. Brown and her children." The judge nodded slowly. "Granted pending review." Kody's face contorted with shock. "You can't do that. You're ripping my family away from me." Judge Parker glared at him. "Mr. Brown, you did that yourself." The gavel pounded once more. The hearing adjourned for lunch, but nobody budged. Everyone simply sat, stunned, speechless, dazed. Outside, the world went wild. Social media lit up with theories. Some vindicated Kody. Others applauded Christine for standing firm. The story had surpassed entertainment. It had become a movement. Christine remained in the hallway, ringed by flashes and microphones. "Christine, did you know about Elise?" a reporter yelled. Christine replied only, "I know now." And that's enough. She turned away from the commotion and discovered Janelle standing outside a vending machine. Janelle smiled gently. "You're stronger than I've ever seen you." Christine nodded. "I had to be. For the kids." Janelle paused. "Do you think he'll fight back?" Christine's eyes blackened. "He's already thinking of it. You've seen his face in there. He's not finished." And truly, within the courtroom, Kody sat by himself, fists clenched on the table. His attorney hushed. "We can still counter this. We'll argue emotional coercion, press bias." Kody didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the exit where Christine had just walked out. His expression wasn't anger now. It was something deeper, cold, calculated. Robyn approached quietly. "Kody, it's over. Please just stop." He turned to her, voice low and chilling. "You think this is over?" "Number. She started this war. I'll finish it." Robyn took a step back, fear dancing in her eyes. That night, Christine came home weary. The children were in bed, and the house was finally still. She filled a glass of water and stood at the window. The Arizona sunsets colored the sky, stunning but eerie. Her phone vibrated. A text message from an unidentified number. "You shouldn't have played that recording." She stood stock still. A second message arrived. "You don't know what I have." Her heart raced. She locked her phone and gazed out into the blackness. Deep inside her belly, she knew it wasn't finished. Not by a long way. The lights in the courtroom flickered a little, as if the tension within had started to affect the electricity itself. Christine sat straight, her chin up with quiet resolve. Across from her, Kody had lost all his confidence. He seemed smaller, battered, his previously defiant stance replaced by fidgety tapping of his finger against the wooden bench. Robyn gripped her hands in her lap, knuckles pale white. She'd not spoken since she'd testified before. Every so often, she'd look over at Kody, trying to catch his eye, some indication that they remained on the same side of this tempest. But Kody shunned her. His gaze was fixed rather on the folder the lawyer for Christine clutched, a folder bulging with papers, photographs, and something else. Secrets that he believed would never be brought to light. Christine's lawyer rose. Your Honor, we'd like to present Exhibit 34, an audio recording taken 2 years ago during a family meeting at Coyote Pass. A low murmur rippled through the courtroom. Kody's face went pale. Robyn whispered under her breath, Please, don't do this. The judge nodded. Proceed. The room went silent as the audio began to play. Kody's voice boomed through the speakers, furious and aghast. You all volunteered for this. You vowed forever. If someone walks away, they'll regret it. I won't let my family disintegrate because some of you can't do sacrifice. And then silence and a faint shaking voice. Christine's, we're not your property, Kody. You can't use guilt and name it love. Through the static, the emotion could be discerned. Pain, fatigue, a woman finally at the breaking point. The jury shifted uncomfortably in their seats, clearly affected. The judge leaned forward, his face pinched. Christine refused to glance at Kody. She fixed her gaze straight ahead, tears glinting in her eyes but never spilling. Kody's attorney jumped up. Objection, Your Honor! That recording was done without permission. It's not admissible. But the lawyer for Christine smiled weakly. Your Honor, this is not a recording by Christine. It was handed over by one of Kody's own children. The courtroom gasped. Kody's head jerked up. What? His voice trembled. Which one of them? He trailed off, aware of how desperate he sounded. The vision of a proud patriarch was dwindling and being replaced by a man cornered by the truth. The objection was overruled. The evidence stands. Kody leaned back in his chair, the force of betrayal and his own words suffocating him. Christine's voice was even, but her hands shook as she grasped the rail of the witness stand. I decided that night to leave, not because I no longer love my family, but because I understood love doesn't equal surrender. I had believed for years that silence bound us together, but silence was suffocating us. Her words lingered in the air. Even the journalists paused in their typing. Robyn's silence was finally broken. Christine, you're distorting everything. You knew he was attempting to keep us together. You wanted out, and now you're demonizing him. Christine turned, a look of gentleness but unyielding firmness on her face. Robyn, I wanted peace. But peace isn't possible when one person dictates everyone's happiness. Kody slammed his hand on the table. That's not true. I gave everything for this family. I gave my life to you women. The judge's gavel struck. Mr. Brown, control yourself. But the damage was done. The jury had seen it. The anger, the loss of control, the emotional volatility Christine had described. Christine's lawyer called the next witness, Janelle. She crept up slowly, her face conflicted. She and Christine exchanged a quick, encouraging look. Mrs. Brown, the attorney started softly, can you explain to us how Kody's demeanor changed once Christine made up her mind to leave? Janelle sighed. First, he blamed her. He told us Christine had been unfaithful to the family, but then I began to look at it differently. I saw how scared he was. Scared of losing Christine, but scared of losing control. Her words hit Kody like a punch. Janelle went on, her voice cracking. I used to stand up for him. I believed that being submissive made me faithful, but faithfulness shouldn't entail losing yourself. Christine's eyes shone with thankfulness, Robyn's with rage. Kody leaned forward, grumbling under his breath. You all turned against me. The courtroom lights hummed above, the buzz filling the space. Christine's attorney brought the session to a close with one final question. Christine, considering all that's occurred, what do you want from this court today? She gazed at the judge, her words firm. I want my freedom. And I want the truth on record so no one else confuses fear with faith ever again. The judge nodded gravely. We'll recess for the day. Court will resume tomorrow morning. The gavel came down, ringing like thunder. As all of them stood up, Christine just remained there, drinking in the faces about her. Janelle's stoic courage, Robyn's shaking bewilderment, Kody's shattered pride. And then, on her way out of the stand, she muttered something under her breath. It was too quiet for the microphones, but the cameras picked it up. It's over. The verdict day morning brought cold and gray skies over Flagstaff. The courthouse stood under thick clouds, its ancient sandstone walls reflected in the flash of news cameras. Fans had been waiting since dawn, some with signs in support of Christine, others with pictures of Kody claiming that he was a misunderstood victim. The tension was not only in the courtroom anymore, it had extended to the streets. Inside, the chairs were all filled. Christine arrived first, dressed in a gentle blue dress and no jewelry. Her expression was serene, although her hands shook marginally. After her came Janelle, solid, calm, a quiet pillar of strength. Then the door opened once more and Kody walked in. He bore no resemblance to the assured patriarch of years past. His curls were shorter, his face gaunt. He didn't glance at anyone as he sat down beside his attorney. Robyn was behind him, her eyes red and puffy, a folded tissue grasped tightly in her hand. Upon the arrival of the judge, the room grew silent, as heavy as you could hear the reverberation of every step. Both this court and the undersigned judges have heard all the testimonies, recordings, and evidence concerning the issue of Kody Brown versus Kody Brown, the judge started. His tone was even, measured, but weighed down by seriousness. Prior to the reading of the decision, both of the parties will be granted one last statement. Christine's attorney nodded. Your Honor, Christine wishes to speak. Christine rose slowly, looking at the judge but briefly at Kody. Her voice was gentle initially, but each sentence had years of weight behind it. For years, I thought love equaled obedience. That to be a good wife was to hold my pain at bay for the sake of tranquility. But tranquility based on silence isn't tranquility. It's manipulation. I don't desire revenge, nor do I need pity. I simply want my truth heard. She hesitated, swallowing hard as the courtroom awaited her next words. I once loved Kody. I still love the family we created, but I can't let the definition of love that destroyed me define my existence. Today, I stand here not as a wife, but as a woman reclaiming her voice. She sat down, her shoulders finally unwinding. The judge nodded. Mr. Brown! Kody stood, his hands around the edge of the table as if the wood could support him. His voice was harsh, strained. I never intended to hurt anybody, he stated, glancing first at the judge, then the jury, and finally at Christine. I was attempting to hold a family together, even if everyone else was leaving. Perhaps I was cruel. Perhaps I said things that I shouldn't have, but I invested everything in them. My time, my heart, my faith. And now I'm the bad guy? He paused, his voice cracking. All I ever asked for was unity. Christine stood in silence, tears welling in her eyes. Not tears of regret, but of release. The judge steepled his fingers. Thank you, Mr. Brown. He paused, took a deep breath, and started reading the decision. In consideration of the evidence adduced, both testimonial and documentary, the court acknowledges that there was a history of emotional coercion and manipulation in the family relationship. Although this is not a criminal trial, it has been established that the plaintiff's well-being and independence were undermined for a prolonged period of time. A murmur ran through the audience. Kody's attorney hissed urgently, but the judge went on. The court hereby orders Kody Brown complete legal separation, custody rights as applicable, and protection against financial retribution. Additionally, the court recommends immediate mediation for division of property and family counseling for all parties involved. Christine breathed softly, her hands flying to her mouth. Robyn's shoulders sagged. Kody simply gazed at the judge, incredulity spreading like a stain over his face. The gavel fell once. Court is adjourned. For a long time, no one stirred. Photographers clicked their cameras. Journalists scrambled to the door to report the verdict. Then Christine rose. She faced Kody, her words husky but distinct. You said you gave everything, Kody? But love isn't something you manage. It's something you give. And the minute you cease to give it, it vanishes. She began towards the door, Janelle trailing behind her, but as she went out, Christine turned back to look at him one last time. Goodbye, Kody. He didn't respond. He simply sat there, his eyes fixed on the space where she had been. Hours later, the courthouse steps were the setting for a different drama. Christine stood next to her attorney, facing the media. I didn't come here to hurt anyone, she said quietly. I came here to rebuild myself, to show my daughters and every woman watching that you don't have to remain in a love that hurts. A reporter shouted, Christine, Will you ever forgive Kody? Christine smiled sadly. Forgiveness isn't for him. It's for me. And I think I'm finally ready for that. The audience cheered while some spectators wiped away tears. Inside, meanwhile, Kody sat by himself. Robyn attempted to put a hand on his arm, but he flinched. They made me the monster, he whispered. Robyn's voice broke. Kody, perhaps. Perhaps you need to look at what they saw. He shook his head. No, they don't get what it takes to shepherd a family. But in his heart, for the first time, Kody wasn't certain he thought that anymore. As the sun set, Christine pulled away from the courthouse. Her phone rang constantly with congratulations and words of encouragement from viewers everywhere. She didn't read them yet. She just gazed out the window as the lights of the courthouse dissolved in the rearview mirror. For years, she'd been living in a story dominated by one man. But tonight, the narrative was hers. Christine's eyes darted to the radio. She muttered to herself, "It's not over yet." The screen went black and the voice of the narrator took it up again, soothing but thick with tension. Just when Christine thought she'd won her freedom, a new storm is on the horizon. Secrets buried deep under land, lies inked in contracts, and one last twist that has the potential to turn the whole case on its head. Tune in, because the next chapter of Sister Wives, the trial of truth, is about to begin.